Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks Thought of the Day for Thursday, January 11th, 2018. I'm still getting used to this, Hal, because when I first did the description, I said 2017. So,
Right?
right,
The calendar moves on. What year is it?
exactly. What year is this? Anyway, guys, please welcome my guest Hal, making his triumphant return. How are you?
Hi, everybody. Good, good. How are you, Cam?
Doing great. A lot of ups and downs. It's been really crazy this week, both good and bad. We'll get into all that in a little bit here. But I do want to start the video by saying where we are currently in the Queen of Hearts campaign. And that is on Indiegogo at this very second. We are at 61% raised of 25,000. We have 314 backers. Wow. It's sitting at $15,260 with just about 10 days left. Now, last weekend, I was able to extend it an extra 2 weeks. So yeah, I was by popular demand. Let's come on, Cameron, try to give us a couple more weeks so we can, get the rest of the money. Well, I did that. And in the last 3 days, the campaign's gone up $100. So we are nearing the last week and a half. If this is going to happen, we're going to have to make it happen. But both good and bad, because we're under 10,000 left to go, which is a lot, but it's better than needing 25,000, right?
Yes.
So that's fantastic.
There's still time for the veritable tsunami of donations to roll in.
Right. And as I said before, it seems like people just want to wait until that last 2 or 3 days so they can feel that snowball turn into an avalanche and go. But that doesn't help my nerves any.
It's a nail biter for sure.
It was a nail biter last week, but one of our viewers, Carolina, reached out to me and said, hey, you set the campaign at 45 days. Just so you know, you can extend it to the full 60 days, even mid campaign, if you want to. So I was like, you know what, that's perfect, because there was some question about whether I could extend it for a couple more months, but that turned out to be not exactly right. That's only true if you are successful in your campaign. Then you can choose to have it extend a few more months in case people want to keep contributing as you go on. But you have to hit your goal first.
Right.
But I was like, you know what? Okay, a couple more weeks. That's what people were asking for in the chat. So we'll go with that. And then the moment I made the announcement, there was a lot of people liking that post and those tweets, a lot of people retweeting it, but it seemed like it was like, and everyone stopped the brakes in donating.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's like everybody that's watching this right now, just give $1. If there's 50 people, that ups at $50.
Exactly.
Simple thing.
So what I'm going to say is, as I've been saying in recent videos, that while Hal and I are doing tonight's show, if you do, contribute to the campaign, I will read it out online and announce what you've contributed and thank you personally on this video, because that would really mean a lot, guys, to get to that total. We are about 10 days away.
I know, as beautiful as 15 looks, 16 would look a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I am glad we're out of the 13 range, because that drove me nuts looking at that dreaded evil 13, for like 3 days, 4 days straight. So we're out of that territory. So that's great. But yeah, let's try and, hit that total. I'm kind of exasperated, to be honest, because I don't know what else I can do at this point. It's, as I said before, it's kind of in everybody else's hands to decide, whether we get there or not, because I've done numerous shows. We've done, nearly the 24-hour stream, tons of guests on here, tons of people tweeting about it. Krista Bell tweeted about it. I don't know if you saw that, Hal.
I did.
So, I mean, there's a lot of great goodwill out there, but it's just not translating into any money coming in, which is
maybe they just are waiting for you to get naked, man, and do a dance or something.
No. No, I don't want to lose this YouTube channel. I think they're waiting for you to get naked and do a dance.
Give me $10. Give me $10, somebody, and I will.
Anyway, but yeah, a few days ago, Joey and I were talking about on video about what can we do, and so I came up with this idea of let's hashtag Save Annie. It was something I've been putting a couple tweets, and then Krista Bell, when she tweeted it out, she actually hashtagged it Save Annie as well. So I said, let's go with that. So we've been flooding Twitter and social media with hashtag Save Annie, and it's hilarious because if you do like searches, that hashtag, this fan film, is trending more than right now than all of Showtime's stuff about the pop-ups and all that. So it's definitely out there. I got contacted today by somebody who said, do you think Heather Graham knows about this? And I said, well, I don't know for sure, but I know that some people have tagged her on some of the tweets, and those tweets have been retweeted numerous times. So she either knows about it or, she doesn't really check her notifications. I don't know what she does. But I'm sure that if she did know about it, she would be, just tickled that that hashtag Save Annie is like trending right now. So.
Exactly.
I also want to thank George, who's in the chat usually, but he's always been a great fan of this channel, and he started up his own YouTube channel called All Things Lynchian.
Oh, I saw that video he just made.
Right. So today he made a video in support of this campaign. It's a really nice, like 2-minute video. So if you're on YouTube, be sure to check it out. Go to his channel, All Things Lynchian. He's got 2 videos up. He's got a channel trailer, and then he made a video in support of this campaign, which was amazing. I hope he gets a lot of likes and views, and he gets a lot of subs, because if you go by the 2 videos he's put up now, I can't wait to see what he does with this channel.
Yeah,
because his stuff is very well done.
It is. I also liked. I thought it was nice that guy from Finland. What was his name? Thomas.
Yes,
from Finland did a nice promotional video to.
Yeah, and he starts the video saying like, "Oh, I'm not very good with English, but he did a great job."
And then his English was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like when actors get. Like, oh, I forgot that line. I forgot this line. It's like, well, the audience didn't notice, so don't worry about it. But yeah, for those of you who if you guys are on Facebook, I don't know if you know or not, but there is a Facebook page for the film itself. You just type in Queen of Hearts, Twin Peaks fan film. There's a Facebook page for that solely. There's also a new Twitter account devoted to it. Because even though I still post about it on Obnoxious Anonymous, both Facebook and Twitter, I just kind of want to separate it, because if the film does happen, I don't want it to just flood just one thing. I want to kind of separate them out a little bit here. But anyway, we'll talk more about all this stuff in a little bit. Hal, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. And please donate, and so do that. And you come back, we'll be here for a while. So go do that and then come back.
We'll be here at least for a few hours. I don't want to keep Hal on too long tonight.
Hey, I was watching one of your Blu-ray updates, and you inspired me to pick these up. See these?
Ooh, where'd you? now wait, hold on. Okay, I have Despite the Gods. Now, Hiss, is that a U.S. release, or is that overseas?
No, it was a U.S. release.
Really?
Yeah, I got it on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do know she disowned that movie.
Well, I find it interesting because I've heard really good things about the documentary, so I bought this just to watch it, and then I'll watch that. So
now when I met her, she was doing publicity for Hiss, but it had not gone through post-production hell yet. So she still was very much like pro that movie.
Right.
So,
but now that like the better movie is the documentary about the nightmare of making it, right?
Right. She says that Sherilyn Fenn says, you didn't go over there to make Hiss. You went over there to make Despite the Gods.
Exactly. It's like Terry Gilliam with his Don Quixote movie.
Yeah. But you know what, though? Those who are fans of that Terry Gilliam film, Lost in La Mancha, the guys who made it, they made, in my opinion, an even better documentary about Terry Gilliam that never played in the theaters. It's called The Hamster Factor, and it's on the 12 Monkeys DVD and Blu-ray, and it's about the making of 12 Monkeys.
Yeah,
and that is an amazing like documentary, because like Lost in La Mancha is fascinating because it's a movie that fell apart.
Right.
12 Monkeys is a movie that was made, was made on schedule and then released. Like it's just kind of like a normal movie. But they really go into like just the making of Terry Gilliam trying to please Universal Pictures, make a film that he's proud of, that they're proud of, because he doesn't want another Brazil experience with them. And
even though Brazil is genius,
right? But I mean, in terms of working with the studio,
yeah.
And it's just fascinating. You go through all the test screenings and them reading the cards, and it's just fascinating stuff. But yeah, they did a great job. Okay, where do we begin here? Okay,
I like that picture that was an Instagram picture today of Kyle and Laura Dern and David Lynch having a cappuccino.
Yeah, it's a great picture.
Yeah.
My only thing about it is, and I know it's not, but she looks completely photoshopped in there. She doesn't look like she's really there. The other two are like sitting there in like the perfect like light, and then she looks like she's in the kitchen and they just superimposed her in there.
And I know they're friends and they hang out anyway, but I don't know. I was feeling a little bit like discouraged about a season 4, but then I see that and I go, let's still hope. Maybe they're getting together and talking.
There's always hope, Hal. There's always hope. And if you go by the internet, every hour there's another website putting out another story about Showtime would welcome another season of Twin Peaks. It's like there's nothing confirmed. It's just every website ever since Variety published that article. So many entertainment websites are running with the same thing. Showtime's open to it. Showtime's open to it.
Do you think the loss in the Golden Globes and stuff slows it down or makes no difference?
I think the nomination helps. However, yeah, I would say yes, but it's getting nominations in like all these other award shows that aren't televised. There's like Sound Awards that's getting nominated for series of the year on these like just like these little critic award things.
Yeah,
and it's just racking them up over there. So yeah, it's not getting the big stuff yet, but the Emmys haven't been nominated either. That we haven't gotten those nominations yet. I mean, who knows if it will win, but I think they're probably counting on at least a nomination. At least I would be shocked if Kyle did not get nominated for the Emmy.
Me too.
I mean, to be honest, I was a little, I don't know. I was always rooting for him, hoping he would win, but I just thought that the show is not nominated for the Golden Globe, and it's like, well, if it's not nominated, then they really didn't watch it, I think, because just about how big it was. So how can they accurately determine whether Kyle gets the award or not if they didn't even really see the show?
Right. It doesn't make sense to nominate him for Best Actor when the show's not even nominated.
No, I mean, and there's lots of things like that. I mean, there's lots of like movies and stuff at the Oscars where someone's nominated for Best Actor, but the movie's not. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah.
But Twin Peaks, whether you liked it, hated it, or whatever, I mean, you have to admit it was audacious.
For sure. And polarizing.
Right. But Hollywood or foreign critics seem to love it. I mean, overseas, that's winning all these like best movie awards and that type of thing. So you would think the Hollywood foreign press would be like, hey, this is something we're checking out. But they just kind of thumb their nose at it. So
I wanted Kyle to win. I was hoping he would win. It would have been great if he would have won, but I'm not disappointed in Ewan McGregor winning because he was great in Fargo.
And I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, he was running up against some heavy hitters there. I mean, it wasn't the Kyle MacLachlan show at the Golden Globes. I mean, he was up against Robert De Niro, right?
Yeah,
Ewan
right.
McGregor, Jude Law, and
Yes.
Jeffrey Rush.
Yes.
Come on. I mean, I'm not saying that Kyle didn't deserve to win, but holy crap. I mean, there was, you couldn't pick a worse group of people to be nominated against.
I wonder who came in second if you counted the votes. You think Kyle came in second?
I don't know. I mean, did that crowd look like they sat and watched Twin Peaks? I don't know. I mean, we don't really know that,
No.
Okay, so let's get through just some quick news here.
Is there any? What's the news?
Oh, there's always news. There's always news. Let's see here. Rolling Stone did an article about Laura Dern was the MVP of 2017 between Big Little Lies, Twin Peaks, Star Wars, and I think she was in something else. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, I would say that, I mean, this year kind of was the year of Laura Dern.
Did you like Big Little Lies? I'm getting ready to start watching that. Is it
never
good?
watched it.
No?
No. I have this weird, I mean, I own it. I'll get around to watching it like many other things. But my issue with it is it takes place in my town.
Yeah.
It wasn't just filmed here. It supposedly takes place here.
Yes.
And the people who did watch it that live here were very offended.
Oh, in the way that Monterey's depicted, or?
Yeah, because they're saying like, you could use our locations, but could you have called it something else? Because apparently they're treating, I mean, I don't know, I didn't see it, but apparently they're treating this area as if it's like Beverly Hills or something. And it's so not that. You know, we are the town of John Steinbeck. I mean, that's where the Grapes of Wrath takes place. I mean, does that seem like what Big Little Lies is? So
well, it's not the 30s anymore either.
No, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
it's I mean, yeah, there's a lot of money here, but people are very, for the most part, pretty humble. I mean, obviously there are stuck-up, snot-nosed people everywhere, but if you meet people with money, they're not like, ugh, they don't scoff at you. You can blend in. Whereas if you just kind of,
it's not like one of those shithole countries like
what? Oh, that's the Trump thing, right?
Trump's thing, yeah.
Yeah, I think
MSNBC, we can say that now since the president said it. So.
And yeah, MSNBC had like a banner that said that. Yeah,
it's hilarious to watch the anchors try to figure out how to deal with that.
Right. Yeah. So let's see. The Cinema Audio Society has nominated Twin Peaks for sound. So obviously you have who's it? Dean Hurley, right? No. What's the guy's name that does all the sound now with David Lynch?
Yeah, Dean Hurley, right?
Oh, it's Dean Hurley. Okay.
Yeah.
I get him confused with the other guy from...
Who, James Hurley?
No. No, wasn't there... I can't remember. The guy he used to do... Not Alan Split, but there was like someone in between that he used to do stuff with too.
Oh.
But I can't remember off the top of my head. Balthazar Getty. People Magazine did a whole story about him struggling with his billionaire family's dark legacy. And you know what? Stupid me. When I read that, I was like, Getty.
J. Paul Getty, yeah.
He's that kind of...
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't make that connection either. Isn't that new movie about J. Paul Getty?
Yeah.
All the money in the world, yeah.
Right. Well, apparently they didn't have all the money in the world when they brought back the reshoots for Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams. Did you hear that story?
No.
Oh, they paid him over $1.5 million to do the reshoots, and they paid her $1,000.
Oh well.
Oh, it's terrible.
Well, it goes with the theme because I heard J. Paul was one miserly bastard.
Yeah. Then somebody sent me a music video from a band called The Lovely Eggs. I saw that. Yeah, with the Bob thing. Yeah, it's called I Shouldn't Have Said That, and they said you need to check this out, and I went okay. So I watched it, and about a minute in, they actually superimposed Bob's laughing face over the singer's head. Yeah, that was funny. I watched that too. And then Abby contacted me and said, well, if you want to see Bob used better in music video, go check out the music video for Only by Anthrax. So I haven't had a chance to look at that, but
What was that band that had the Log Lady do the Log Lady intro?
Oh my God, I can't remember that.
That was cool.
When I remember seeing that going, was this like one that wasn't used?
Yeah.
That was incredible. I wonder if they had to get Lynch and Frost okay on that.
I don't know.
You know,
yeah, that's like the final Log Lady intro. They got a coup there.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me just bring this up so I can give this person credit here. What's this? Oh, come on. JB Minton. He is one of the co-creators of the Red Room podcast. Have you heard them, Hal?
Yeah, isn't that the one that Scott Ryan does, the guy from the Blue Rose magazine? Isn't that the Red Room podcast?
It might be.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay. Well, he did an article called "Are You Really Surprised Twin Peaks Wasn't Nominated for a Golden Globe?" And he published this on medium.com. And, it's basically saying, Twin Peaks is something that will be forever cherished, and, don't worry about the awards and, that type of thing. And me personally, I don't really care one way or the other about the awards. I didn't even care in 1990 what the awards were. The only thing I care about is it getting, does Showtime look at what's happening as a positive thing to move forward?
Mm-hmm.
And again, there might not be a season 4, but I like the idea of Showtime saying, hey, if they're interested, we're interested. Like, I want to keep that door open.
I like that door being open too. Although I did read a recent interview with Mark Frost, and they said, if there is no more, are you cool with the closure? And he just said, yes. So that was a little bit disheartening.
Well, what's not disheartening, Hal? Let's do a commercial break here. If you guys want more Twin Peaks, there's a nice little link right here. You'll get a new Twin Peaks movie this year. So
exactly.
Now, even if season 4 happens, you'll have this to chew on in the meantime. So
yeah, and if you do it while we're live here, we can mention your name.
Yeah, I'm gonna check right now to see if anybody's contributed. What do you think, Hal? Has someone contributed yet?
I don't know. Check it out. They should have.
I'm asking you what you think.
I hope so.
And you would be incorrect.
Oh.
It appears that we are the YouTube clowns. People want us to perform little tricks for free on YouTube. But,
all right. Well, what give us a request.
Yeah, make a donation and then
if you make a donation and you're in the live chat, we'll take requests.
Right. Okay. Let's see.
We'll sing under the sycamore trees.
Oh God, no. No. Okay, so today I found this article that came out from a website called Pop Matters, and the author is named Garrett Castleberry, and he does a review for Criterion's Fire Walk With Me disc. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's a review of Fire Walk With Me. Let me just scroll through it and see what he says about it. And as I'm going through it, I start to see him have this idea, and then this idea over here, and this idea over here. And it became apparent to me that this guy must be watching these videos. And he must be a big fan of this podcast, because he definitely was suggesting many things that we've talked about on this show. So I actually was just rather happy. Like when I read that, I was like, yes, it looks like a fan of this channel is writing this review. This is fantastic. So yeah, be sure to check that out, guys. Oh, and by the way, this whole were you here for the other night? I can't remember. Was it with Frank or with Mandy? I can't remember. Where I said the word super fun like a million times.
I did. I saw that.
And so every once in a while, it's been kind of an in joke. People are, hashtag super fun and that type of thing.
super fun.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know where it came from, but it's like sticking around for a few days. It's quite amusing. But last night I was actually talking with an actor about the possibility of being in the film if it's funded, and their response was, "That sounds like super fun to do."
Ah, perfect.
And I was like, "Are you watching these podcasts? Because this is this is a recent thing that's kind of been silly and stuff like that." And they're like, "No, I haven't. And I was like, "Well, it's very much a Lynchian thing of serendipity, right?"
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, that's awesome." So anyway, they're really interested, but they can only be interested if I have a budget to work with. If I have no budget, I have no actors. I have, and I'm not knocking people like this, but if I have no budget, I don't have like actors. I have community theater actors. You know what I mean?
Well, even if you used community theater actors, it's always nice to pay people for their work. It's like,
right. But I'm just saying, like, it becomes harder to work around, like, because people who work in, or people who do community theaters obviously usually have jobs, and so you have to work around like those schedules, whereas like actors, that is their job.
Gotcha.
And so when you hire them, you don't have to work around their busy work schedule too, to shoot this little piece over here, and you can just say, "Hey, I need a week." Boom.
Sure.
But guess what, Hal? We have a donation.
Yay!
Jack Baldwin has donated $20. That's amazing.
Yay, Jack. Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, this is so this will bring us to takes a second to load, of course, to $15,280.
And he didn't bother with the request, so I guess we don't have to get naked.
Well, I haven't looked at the chat, so 315 backers now. We're still at 61% with about 10 and a half days left.
That's cool, man.
Thanks
for responding, Jack. We appreciate it.
Trust me, we really, really appreciate it. All right, let's go to the chat real quick and see what everyone's talking about here. Brianne says, "Hello, hashtag save Annie." Yeah, guys, let's just keep this going. We got 10 and a half days left. Hashtag save Annie. And you guys are just tweeting up a storm, and it's fantastic, and it's amazing to just see how many people are doing this, and how many people are retweeting everybody else. And yeah, there's just been a ton of just verbal support. Now we just have to translate that to some cash. Now, I did have some bad news happen yesterday. How?
Bad news? Oh no.
Yeah. So I reached out.
So we've gone through all the good news, and now here's
no. We're bouncing back and forth.
All right,
it's been that kind of week. So I reached out to a friend of mine who works in media, and I said, "Hey, here's this campaign. It's got over 15,000 raised. We're getting Twin Peaks actors and celebrities tweeting it out. Tons of support out there. Can
how about a little shout out, man? How about a little shout out?
Yeah, can we get at least a little blurb written about it?" And then I got a response back going, "Hey, that's really cool that's happening, but our policy," and you'll notice that this will be across a lot of platforms, is that we cannot talk about something that's crowdfunded. We only talk about things that are studio funded, because if we talk about your project that's being crowdfunded, then we'll have to acknowledge everybody else's crowdfunding as well.
I don't see that logic. Why can't they? If it's their site, they can talk about whatever they want. If it's a good project and they choose to write about it, who cares if it's crowdfunded? If it's something they're not interested in, well, then they don't have to write about that one. Why do you have to be all inclusive in every category? I don't get that.
I don't know. Maybe they're getting flack for that kind of thing. I don't know. But, then I had people reach out to me saying, well, that's BS because, websites talked about Veronica Mars's, crowdfunding and that type of thing. And it's like, yeah, I get it, because they have to acknowledge Veronica Mars. That's a big project. So I kind of think it goes deeper than that. I think it goes into, well, do we really want to talk about this Twin Peaks fan film? Because, you know, maybe if there's another thing with Twin Peaks coming out, maybe we'll get an interview with David Lynch or somebody, and we don't want to, you know, rock the boat and that type of thing. And it's like, I wouldn't worry about it, guys. You didn't get Lynch the first time around, you know. So,
right,
you know, yeah. So,
and when actors like Krista Bell are promoting it or retweeting it or whatever, you know, I mean, that seems, you know, I don't see why.
Well, this has been my thing for a while now, is that there are, you know, people in the media, websites that monitor big Twitter accounts, right? Krista Bell, being so close to David Lynch, is one of those that's monitored.
Yes.
The moment she posts, you know, if you ever felt the need to hashtag save Annie, now is your chance. There should have been 10 articles written like that night about
right,
it.
and if there was any kind of bad vibe from the Lynch Frost camp, then that would have never happened. So I don't know what these websites are worried about. You know?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Krista Bell, if there's any Twitter account that David Lynch reads, it's Krista Bell. Right. I bet you he reads hers, Laura Dern's, you know, Kyle's, you know, there are certain people that come up on his feed. She's one of them. So obviously she's not going to do something that's going to make Lynch Frost Productions like upset.
Tell that to Sherilyn Fenn.
There's a big difference between her and Krista Bell.
No, I know.
Krista Bell's been working with David Lynch for close to 20 years. You know, Sherilyn Fenn had a year and a half working with David Lynch between Wild at Heart and Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and she's tweeting disparaging things from the set. It's like a little different.
Very different. So yeah, but that's the thing that shocked me. Like I get it. I mean, but like in terms of like, you know, just, you know, random people talking about it, but Krista Bell, Jake Wardle, you know, we've had other people just talk. It's just, I'm just completely dumbfounded. Like, what? Why isn't any, like, I go on Google, and I know I said this a few days ago, but it's still true. I go on Google, you know, type it in, check the news, check all, you know, to see if there's anything written about it. No, Reddit threads are still kind of just hanging there by, you know, couple posts, and no new articles written or anything like that. And nobody contacting via email, like, hey, what's going on with this thing? What is this thing? You know, it's just, it's so under the radar. It's, and yet it's kind of funny to me because it's so under the radar and yet so in everybody's face. Like if you are a Twin Peaks fan on Twitter, on Facebook, you've had this campaign fly across your feed at some point. I mean, you can't escape it. It's everywhere right now. So it's like, it's in everybody's face, but everyone's just kind of like, da, 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 you know?
Yeah. So, and let's remind people, I mean, if you give $10, $20, $100, whatever you can afford to give,
right,
or that whatever you know, feel is worth it to see this project come to fruition. If it doesn't happen, you still get your money back. So it's not like you're throwing it out into the ether, you know. It's like, oops.
Well, right there.
Here's a caller now.
Yeah.
Hey, let me hang on a second.
Oh boy.
Joy.
Hi, it's Hal. Please leave a message.
Joy.
You better.
I'm doing my podcast.
All right, let's watch Hal take a phone call live on YouTube. You might want to mute your mic.
Hang on, Cam. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, man.
All right. Let's go to the comments here. 402-1971 says they were talking about Laura Dern on Andy Cohen's show, and they were talking about how it was the year of Laura Dern, and they never mentioned her in Twin Peaks. Idiots. Let's see here. Twin Peaks Outside the City Limits says sound is so great in Twin Peaks, they should win. Frank from this podcast says, and also from the Live from the Roadhouse podcast says, there's a music video with Jack Nance in it, but I can't remember the band or title. Wilton says, yeah, isn't it weird how we forget these small nuggets of fun facts? Because there's so many of them. That's why. All right, guys, it looks like we have another contribution, which is fantastic. This is coming from Christopher, and he donated $20. So thank you so much. Let's bring up the total here, and welcome Hal back to the podcast.
I'm sorry, man. That was rude.
Hey, man, if the phone rings, just mute your mic.
The things you do for I could have done that too. Sorry. the things you do for love. I have to take my girlfriend's phone call. What can I say?
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so the whole audience just went, "Aw." But I was just announcing that Christopher gave $20. So
nice, Christopher.
So we are at 15,300.
That's cool.
Cool. We're in the new hundreds now.
Keep them coming, man. We appreciate that. It's really cool to see, when we're live, to have somebody take the time to do that. So yeah, thank you.
Completely. No, Frank mentioned that Jack Nance was in a music video once, but he can't remember the name.
Interesting. Wonder around what year was that? It'd be interesting to see what year he did that. Just what phase.
402 says, I have been saying that there will be no season 4, and finally Cameron seems to be leaning toward what I have felt all along. No, I think that there will be something eventually. I mean, I'm sorry, but Twin Peaks is too big of a name. And look at the way Showtime's promoting the heck out of this thing still, even after the Blu-ray. I mean, they don't promote Homeland like this. So obviously they're looking at this as sort of their, bread and butter. So even though, I mean, they're still bringing out new shirts and things like that on their website. So they're determined to do something with this property. I guarantee you that.
If there was a season 4, would you want to see another sprawling thing like season 3, or would you like it to be more narrow focused, like just have Kyle, Laura Dern, Cheryl Lee, maybe Sherilyn Fenn, just that core?
Well, here's the thing. I would love to see something like that, but I would argue that season 3 broadened it so much that I could even make the excuse that you could do it. I know it says Twin Peaks, but you could almost tell Twin Peaks stories that don't even take place in Twin Peaks because they open it up from, everywhere. We went from New York and Paris to Argentina, to Vegas to Washington State. I mean, we were everywhere. But
we've almost had it's almost like we've had the origin, we've had the demise of Bob, basically. It's like they've covered all the things, really. I'd almost want to see him just take off on a completely new thing, forget kind of all the past mythology.
Yeah. Twin Peaks Outside of the City Limits says, yeah, the actor saying super fun. That's a sign. # super fun. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, Twin Peaks. When your phone rang, they said, line 1, you were on the air. Frank says it's Hal's agent. It was actually, yeah. No, you said it was your girlfriend. I was going to say it was probably David Lynch saying, shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
They said the Jack Nance was Suicidal Tendencies, 1983, institutionalized.
Oh, I love that song.
Someone else said, isn't it cool that there's 316 backers, like 316?
316.
315 was at Cooper's Room, though.
Right, 315.
Let's see here. All right. Now they're talking about skater bands. Wilton says he's time to hit the bed. I'll be watching from my pillow until my eyes wide shut. All right, Kubrick. Have a good night. All right, let's see if there's what other news there are. Lindsay, is it Bowden or Bowden? I don't know, but she runs the Twin Peaks UK Fest. They're talking about her cookbook that she has out there. I think it's called Damn Fine Cherry Pie, and they even sell it at the Salish Lodge. So, it has to be really good.
They sell her pie at the Salish Lodge?
No, they sell her book.
Her book. Okay.
Her cooking book. I don't own that book. Hal, you buy everything Twin Peaks. Do you have this book?
No, I don't buy everything Twin Peaks.
No, you didn't get
some of that ephemera. I don't really get. No, I was coveting your bobblehead though. That's badass. I don't know that I'd pay the extra 10 for the floor though.
Oh, come on, look at that floor.
That's pretty cool.
$10 for the floor.
You didn't buy both though.
No. If you're gonna have one, you're gonna have the floor.
I'll bet you if it had a Scooby-Doo on it, you would have bought it.
That's enough out of you. I don't buy everything Scooby-Doo. If I see a Blu-ray that's like $5, sure, I'll pick it, especially if there's a digital code in it. Of course. I started watching It last night. That's pretty good. Let's see here. All right. So Lindsay's advertising her book. Make sure to check that out. Here's something really cool. I know Hal will love this. Now streaming on HBO, David Bowie, The Last 5 Years.
Yeah, I saw that because it was a BBC production originally, and I copyright infringed and downloaded a torrent of it and saw it way before HBO premiered it. It's great though. I mean, if you're a Bowie fan, you have to watch it.
What does it talk about? His whole career?
Yeah, it's kind of an overview at the beginning, kind of quick, because it's hard to sum his whole thing up, but it focuses on the last 5 years, and it sort of starts when he had his heart attack on stage, so that was about 10 years actually, but then and so it goes into his kind of period of non-activity or inactivity, and then he comes out with the Next Day album, and then it kind of just goes from there. But the main thing, I mean, it made me weep when at the end they play some isolated vocal tracks from the Black Star sessions, and you can hear him struggling, and you can hear him kind of wheezing to get the words out. But it's very poignant because you can hear how hard he was making the effort to get those vocals down. It's great stuff though, man. It just makes you miss him. I can't believe it's been 2 years since he died. That's amazing.
Wow. And you know what? People kept wondering, are we going to get that, that David Bowie appearance in it? And we did and we didn't. I mean, they did replay footage from Fire Walk with Me, but it was like an alternate take, and that type of thing. So you could say, well, we got a little bit of new footage. I guess wasn't his voice, but it was kind of cool to see that though. All the same.
Yeah, that was the one disappointment. I really felt that there was a surprise, some surprise footage, but it was not to be.
No, unfortunately, it certainly wasn't.
And how different it would have been had he been in all the Philip Jeffries scenes himself.
Yeah, that would have been crazy.
That would have been incredible.
Do you follow, there's a graphic illustrator named Ronaldo Zuntiz. I'm sure you've seen a lot of his posters and stuff. They advertised a lot of them on Welcome to Twin Peaks. Anyway, he just did this awesome, fun little thing on After Effects. Let me see if I can pop this up so you guys can see it. This is kind of cool of Laura being whisked out of the Black Lodge.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. Let's see.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, she's in a perpetual state of flux there. That's cool.
That should be my ringtone when my wife calls me.
Yeah.
David Lynch, his foundation tweeted out today, true happiness is not out there. True happiness lies within.
Definitely.
I thought that was a really cool.
That is a truism.
That definitely is. I'm trying to scroll through everything to see more news to talk about here. Yeah, I just can't believe how many people out there are, tweeting about this campaign, hashtag Save Annie. I'm thinking if the campaign is successful, we'll have to just say Annie lives or something, hashtag Annie lives or something like that. But yeah, there's been so much support. And again, I just want to thank George again for that awesome video. Showtime Twin Peaks tweeted out, congratulations to David Lynch, Kyle MacLachlan, and the cast of crew of Twin Peaks on their Dorian Awards nominations for Wild Artist of the Year, the WILDE, so maybe that's Oscar Wilde.
Oh, yeah.
TV Performance of the Year, actor and TV drama of the year. So
the wild performance of the year probably was for Dennis Denise, that scene.
I don't know.
Because if it's Oscar Wilde, it's probably a LGBTQ thing.
I don't know, but if you look at it this way, I mean, see, it may not be Golden Globes, but they're knocking it in other, categories, in other awards. And so, Showtime wants the big ones, but they also just want to be able to litter the screen with coming soon, Twin Peaks season 4, all these like awards and stuff. That's what they want to do. It's kind of like when an indie film sweeps 750 film festivals that you never even heard of, but they flash them all on the screen to make you think that
sure,
the next coming of film is coming, of cinema is coming to you. So yeah,
I think my favorite anti-campaign like that was, remember for Lost Highway, when Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down, and he used that as a tag on the poster. 2 thumbs down, yet another reason to see Lost Highway.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
Caroline just made me laugh out loud when she was talking about the Queen of Hearts campaign on Twitter, and she says, "Here is Sheriff Truman presently making his donation," and there he is typing. Oh, isn't that hilarious? Look at him, he's trying to figure out Indiegogo right now. That's hilarious.
That is great. 2-finger doing the hunt and peck method. Hey man, that all works. That's the way I type too, so I can relate.
Right. And then Steve,
little faster than
Steve. He tweets out, Monkey says, "I've donated to Queen of Hearts. Now the ball is in your court." And he posted a picture of a giant tennis ball that says #Save Annie, and his dog is sitting there with a tennis ball. But if you go up closer and see, yeah, Save Annie right there. But he's got his dog with a tennis ball. Isn't that adorable? People are getting
Twin Peaks fans are so creative and beautiful, man.
They are absolutely amazing.
Love it.
I had somebody reach out, I don't know whether they were trying to be a troll or not, but I just whatever. But they did reach out and they say, "I don't understand why you're doing this crowdfunding campaign." I mean,
is it necessary that you understand? Maybe I just do it out of
no. They're like, well, Twin Peaks fans do Twin Peaks art all the time, and right. I don't see them, trying to collect money to do something.
Oh,
and so here is my counter argument to that. If you are an amazing artist, all you need is a pen and some paper. If you are an amazing graphic illustrator and you like to do Twin Peaks stuff, all you need is a really good fast moving computer and some decent software and the talent to do it. If you want to write a book, you just need, typewriter, computer, whatever, and you write a book. If you want to do poetry, you write some poetry. If you want to, there are so many outlets of how you want to do it. If you're a filmmaker, like I am, and this is how I express myself, you kind of need other people to help. And if you're trying to do something a little larger in scale than just, grabbing a couple of friends and, swaying in your Black Lodge you build in your garage, you're going to need support. And so, and enough people were encouraging me to do it. And I was like, you know what, if I'm going to do it, I want to try and do the thing that I myself am the most passionate about. Because if I'm going to do it, I want to do it for real. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking about doing this crowdfunding thing. People were saying you should go for it, totally do it. So that's what I'm doing. If there was a way to do this for free, I would go that route. But
if you were independently wealthy, you'd just go ahead and do it. But yeah,
sure.
It's cost prohibitive to the average guy. So plus it's a kind of a group love thing. Do you want to see this? Let's make it happen.
Well, the other thing is that, this isn't a project that I can make a single penny on.
Right.
So you're not going to turn around and just throw heaps of money yourself into it, even though I still am. but you know, I'm not going to pay $30,000 for a fan film that I can't even make a penny on. I can't, you know, it's like, okay, if we want to do this, let's all collectively do this. Fans of the channel, fans in the community, you know, let's do this thing. So, you know, we're 61% there, Hal.
Yeah. Plus, what else are we doing while we're waiting for an announcement about season 4? Yay or nay? Let's do this.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, I feel like, you know, if you know, if this was something I could write up as a book and actually publish it, maybe, but I can't. You know, even if I said the unauthorized true story of Annie Blackburn, I can't publish it, you know, because it's, you know, it's going into their characters and that type of thing. So, this is kind of like how I choose to, you know, be creative. You know, if I was a poet, I would do it that way. If I was just an illustrator, if I was a graphic designer, if I was any artist, I mean, there's so many amazing people in the Twin Peaks community, you know, and I'm not saying with this project that like, oh, well, you know, this is different or better than all the other people. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that everybody has their own outlet of how they want to channel their love for Twin Peaks. I do it with doing these podcasts and videos. I do it from doing all these posts about Twin Peaks and pictures and that type of thing. And, you know, now I have, you know, perhaps the opportunity of doing it as the fan film that I've always wanted to make since I was 16 years old.
I understand your groove, man. I'm behind you.
I know. I just, you know what, me myself, I feel like when people say things, I feel like you know, I want to address it, you know, so people, you know, I'm not someone who just kind of sweeps things under the rug, kind of like, you know, the sweeper in the Roadhouse. You know, I want to acknowledge and say, yes, I hear you. And here's my answer. You know, this is not something I can put in a, you know, a 200 character tweet. You know, this is something that I have to just express. Let's see here, going through so many wonderful tweets. I get tweets all day long tagging me about this campaign. It's absolutely amazing. And you can imagine my shock and surprise when I came home and Christabel had tweeted it out. I was like, oh my goodness.
That rocked.
I was like, the tide is going to change. And it didn't. So Caroline, of course, tweeted out again saying, now it's gone, and I am who I am, who I was, I will never be again. I'm running out of sand. Before it's gone, please help. And then she has a picture of Heather Graham. So I'm just so incredibly moved by so many of these people's tweets and support. I can't tell you. Now we just gotta buckle down and make the 10 days rot, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the chat and see where we are. Let's see. Twin Peaks Outside the City Limits says Bowie was always great in concert. So great, he was part of the Twin Peaks world. And Jason says, hi, folks, at work. We'll catch up later. Everyone's saying, hey, Jason. And Frank is here saying, hi, everyone. And that is where we are.
Hey, Frank.
So Hal, I'm going to open up the mic to you. Yeah. What, like, David Lynch, Twin Peaks stuff have you seen since you've been on here? Anything you would like to talk about? What did you think of the whole, you know, Museum of Modern Art screenings in New York?
I didn't really hear any feedback on that after that happened. What did you hear? How did it go over? Was it well attended, sold out?
Oh, it was sold out. Well, yeah. Well, one, they didn't charge, but
right, it was free.
But still, it was.
But it was capacity crowd.
Right, and George Griffith was there, and maybe a few others. I don't know, but I know at least George was there. I know Peter over at Welcome to Twin Peaks was talking about how, you know, that scene in the show when they shows the plane flying, and then you saw those lights.
Yeah, yeah. There was supposed to be some secret code in the windows or whatever.
Right. He said that, you know, they're in the Blu-ray, they were on the show, but they weren't in this screening. Isn't that interesting? So then I reached out saying, well, what about that weird door handle thing when Christabel comes around the corner, remember? And she's about to grab the doorknob and there's that fuzziness. He goes, no, that was there. So I don't know, but for some reason, the the flickering lights on the plane windows were not there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but it was very well attended. Somebody shot video of everybody like screaming, "Hey, we're here!" And then Kyle retweeted that out saying, "Hello, everybody." So Kyle is really, he just continues to be like one of my favorites because he's such a class act with everything,
So gracious to the fans,
Right.
And really, really just centered and level-headed kind of dude,
Right. I think it took him a while to get here.
Oh yeah.
I think he was always a very nice and humble person, but I think it took him a while to get here because if social media, Twitter had existed at the time when he was in Sex and the City, I don't think he would have been all like, if everyone was just constantly tagging him on a million Twin Peaks posts a day. I think it took him time to appreciate what Twin Peaks was.
So what the role of Agent Cooper was.
Right. So he could kind of come back and feel like, because, he really doesn't come back. I mean, he does play Cooper, but he doesn't really come back and has to play Agent Cooper the way he used to have to play Agent Cooper. He got to come back and be Mr. C and Dougie and all that. So in a way, by playing these different aspects of Cooper, he was able to redefine the role for himself as opposed to just coming back in a trench coat, doing thumbs up, eating donuts and cherry pie. You know what I mean? It was like,
it was more challenging as an actor to explore those different aspects of Cooper.
Right. What do you think of my theory though of, how like Kyle has said in the past, like with Fire Walk with Me, that he initially turned it down for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons was that it was too dark. The material was too dark for him.
I think that I don't know. I think that I don't know. I for some reason, and I blame Lara Flynn Boyle.
Well, you may blame Lara Flynn Boyle. I think that may have played a role in it. I will also blame the fact that he was just coming off the doors and he was getting a lot of opportunities, and I don't think he wanted to just go back and play Agent Cooper again.
Yeah.
I think that, especially since it was, more or less a canceled TV series, right? So
I think he probably had a bad taste. I think he probably felt a bit of a abandonment by Lynch in season 2. So he was contractually obligated to do things that he probably disagreed with, as even like Kimmy Robertson and people have complained about that feeling or that vibe on the set. So maybe he just was like, you know what, I'm going to move on,
And yet, I love season 2. So,
but I'll tell you what still hurts me is like, when Lynch, at some point Lynch had to go, I need you, and he still said no. Even though he came back for a little bit, it was still like, how could you? I don't know.
Well,
it's kind of like when Paul McCartney, when Michael Jackson bought all the Beatles songs, and Paul McCartney, they had a friendship with Michael Jackson. They did that say and all that stuff together, right?
Right.
And so Paul went to Michael Jackson and said, "Hey, look, I appreciate it. It's all business. I told you to invest in music publishing, and you bought the Beatles catalog, even though you knew I was interested. Do me a favor, as a friend, can you just give me Yesterday, because I dreamed it. It's a special one. It's the most covered song. It got a rhodium record in the Guinness Book of World Records, so selling more than anything. It was a solo performance. None of the other Beatles are on the original recording of Yesterday. It's Paul and a string quartet. Can I just have that one?" And Michael's like, "No." And that broke up their friendship. It's kind of like that with Kyle and Lynch. It's like,
right.
Come on, man! You're Agent Cooper, and and I'm making a feature film of Twin Peaks, and you tell me no?
Yeah, and then in Fire Walk with Me, there's a scene with him and Kiefer Sutherland. So you have Kyle, super popular at that time. You have Kiefer at the height of his before 24 popularity, but he was really big at that time as well. So you have a scene between those two, and what does Lynch do? Cuts it.
Right.
right? It's
Right.
It's just funny to me. But
Yeah.
no, but what I'm getting at is, I know this has been a discussion on other shows, but I just want to get your take on it.
Mhm.
Do you think that because Cooper was able to do a lot of Dougie in this new season, and because Mr. C, even though he is the the main bad guy in this season, in reality, Kyle was not really, even though I think that he was, bone chilling in those first like 4 episodes. I would argue that Mr. C, this is not a fault on Kyle or anything. I'm just trying to work through this. I think that Kyle gravitated and was okay with doing Mr. C because Mr. C, most of the bad things that Mr. C has done happened prior to season 3.
Gotcha. So he didn't have to. He didn't walk him through the heinous stuff.
Right. There wasn't like Kyle wasn't asked to assault
Yes.
Audrey Horne on camera.
Right.
So I think that even though there's darkness there, Kyle could play the darkness of the character without having to do horrible, dark things.
Although, part of me wishes they would have done, because
like, can you imagine instead of Richard Horne,
mm-hmm.
if, there wouldn't be no place for this, but imagine if it had been Mr. C walking into a house and doing to Audrey what Richard Horne did to his grandmother.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Because there was never any moment in season 3 that was scary. Did you think that was truly scary? The only thing that came close to me was when they first confronted Cooper in that behind the glass there in the interrogation room.
There was that. There was his first encounter with Nido, and you heard the slamming of the door, and it's like all those jittery cuts.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty tense.
Yeah.
I think when Kyle as Mr. C is approaching Andy in the parking lot outside the sheriff's station, that's pretty tense because you have Nido and the drunk guy going, and you know what I mean? It was like building up a lot of tension there.
Yeah, it was building the tension, but I never felt scared. Like when the big reveal of Leland in the mirror, that was friggin' scary.
I would say Sarah in the grocery store,
mm-hmm.
but that had to do with the Fire Walk With Me sound effects playing behind her.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but so like someone had said to me earlier, like, well, what about the Cooper scene or the Mr. C scene with Daria? I mean, that shows him doing like a brutal thing, killing her. And my thing is like, yes, of course, that is a brutal scene. And it was greatly acted and written and directed. My argument to that, though, is that it's sort of a film noir scene. It's very much a crime syndicate. She's part of his inner circle and she's betrayed him. Mm-hmm. This is what happens in these kind of scenarios. Mm-hmm. She isn't like just an innocent victim. Mm-hmm. that he's just perpetrating on.
Yeah, so, like Wyndham Earl and Annie when he's got her and I like the fear I'm feeling, and that's scary stuff, man.
But you know what though, when he puts the flashlight and he goes, "I am Wyndham Earl," right?
Yeah.
And he's got that weird smile on his face.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me about that scene always is when he grabs Annie by the head and smashes her into the window,
mm-hmm.
and he goes, "Take a look at that 12 rainbow trout." It's not the words. It's the fact that he slams her into the window. And if you look at Heather Graham's face, she's like,
mm-hmm.
right. And I almost wonder if Kenneth Welsh just slammed her into the window. And maybe that wasn't unscripted. I don't know. But she does not look like she was expecting that. Now, either that's, just great acting or that was just a Lynch improvisation and on Kenneth Welsh's part, boom.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that, like, I think that Kyle is scarier as Mr. C behind the glass in the prison in both of those scenes with Laura Dern and David Lynch and Miguel Ferrer and Christabel than he ever is just driving a truck in the last half of that scene.
Yeah, or when he blows up when he makes the electronics all go funky in the prison, that seemed to foreshadow like some really like great stuff up ahead. And then, like you've said before, then it's just kind of him riding around in the truck and
Lucy shoots him,
kissing on, cuckolding Chantel's hutch. You know, he's like, yeah, it's like it's not scary anymore, really.
Right. I think the first 4
it's menacing, but it's not frightening.
Yeah, and I'm just saying the first 4 episodes builds him up as such a formidable foe.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you look back over the series, it's like, yeah, Mr. C's a bad guy, but the true villain, if you were to say anything, is Richard Horn. I mean, he's the one that gets the most screen time of doing the most heinous things. Back to the way he abuses grandmother, the way he almost kills Miriam's face all bloody in the bushes and all that. I mean, the way he just grabs out that girl at the roadhouse and is like sexually assaulting her in the booth.
Mm-hmm. And you know that scene where Mr. C's looking in the mirror and they superimpose the Bob smile. I wish they would have done more of that, because you know you miss that. Think about Leland when Bob was inhabiting him. His face changed and he got, you know, that stuff was just spooky, scary, you know. And we never really got to see Kyle go into full horror mode.
No, but you know what though, I don't say that that's Kyle's fault. It's just that was, and I'm not saying it's Lynch and Mark Frost's fault. I'm just saying that's not the story they wanted to tell.
Yeah. If
they really wanted to tell that story, they're talented enough to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
They chose not to tell that story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think Mr. C is, at least in this incarnation, a villain that we love to watch Kyle play.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's why a lot of us thought that Richard Horn was just a scumbag SOB, because it was an actor that a lot of people were not familiar with. And every time he showed up, he was just the most awful person ever. So you just wanted him dead.
So now who in season, let's say season 4 continues. We've got, Jowday or whatever, right? But that's such an abstraction. Will that be the big bad because we don't have Mr. C, we don't have Bob? What's it going to be?
Well,
the reason Bob was so frightening is because it was sort of a human thing.
But okay, listen, if Frank, I know that they're probably looking at us like, well, the Bob balls, exploded. Frank Silva's not around, so
right.
That's the end of Bob.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, obviously, I understand why they would say, okay, Bob's gone. But that being said, you could even make the argument that Freddie just bashed Bob back to the lodge. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to be dead.
True.
I know that.
But it gets unwieldy to keep recycling old footage. It just doesn't work that well.
And it didn't work in the climax when he's just like, catch you with my death bag. It was like, I saw that. I've seen that in the pilot from 1989,
Yeah. It's too bad they didn't have the budget to do a full CGI thing, but
you know what though? I mean, like, if you watch the Blu-ray set, if you go to disc 10, they actually have a missing scene or missing shot from the Black Lodge sequence of the finale of season 2. It plays on the menu. I think it's Bob and the little man. So obviously, Lynch, who does overshoot things, maybe they couldn't locate all the footage or not, but there has to be alternate shots of Frank Silva that they didn't use. I mean, if you read the Fire Walk With Me script, there's a lot of him in there that did not get used. Now, either they didn't film it or they didn't have the footage anymore. I don't know, but I mean,
some of it you're glad they didn't film, like Bob the dentist. That stuff.
Yeah, that's getting into like Nightmare on Elm Street territory right there. But yeah, no, I just, I'm so fascinated by the choices that Lynch and Frost made, and fascinated by the choices they chose not to make. And I think while a lot of people discuss like, well, what do you think this means and that means? And I'm all for those conversations. I'm so interested in the creative process and like, why did they choose to make this decision? Why make Richard Horn, even though he is like, bad guy, did they count on him being as bad as he was? Or do you think that because we know Kyle MacLachlan and we don't know, Eamon as well, that in a way tipped the scale and made Richard Horn much scarier than Mr. C? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it's an unknown quantity. Who knows what this guy's going to do? Yeah.
Right. I mean, do you think that was always the plan, that did they intend for Mr. C to be just incredibly tense and scary all the way through, and it didn't translate like as it went on? But it did translate with Eamon because he was a unpredictable factor? Or was that always the intent, to make Richard Horn? Because it wasn't like one little moment. It was like every single moment of Richard Horn. There was no. He in a way is the Frank Booth of this series. He's the unredeemable character.
Right, and unpredictable. Who knows what he's going to go off at the? He's like a hair trigger.
Right. So I mean, what do you think?
Well, I don't know, unless it's just that they decided for Mr. C just to have him have that. It was almost like it's just not externalized. His evil is totally, he is inhabited in his body, and rather than externalizing it, it was just that menacing darkness, those black shark eyes, implying the darkness within more than, here's my outward actions.
Well, it was almost like Mr. C could do just so much harm to everyone and everything, but the fact that he was so collected, that you expected him to just erupt at any second. Mm-hmm. And we never really got to see him erupt.
Although maybe that was a commentary on, the real bastards of the world, where they don't erupt. They're just dark within. They're just sociopaths,
Right.
Maybe they were commenting on that. The true bad people, are can walk around and they're just heartless.
Oh, and we all know who Mark Frost feels that way about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's let me see if I can find it here. Mark Frost tweeted yesterday about Donald Trump, of course.
Because if you think about it, Richard, that's still passionate, even though it's completely violent, completely misogynist, completely, psychopathic. There's still a passionate thing in there. Maybe Mr. C doesn't even have any passion. There's just darkness. It's just, it's methodical evil.
And then he's just burning a chair at the end.
Right.
I think that's just a great image, don't you?
Yeah.
Because it just began when part 18 just began with him burning the chair. It was like, oh my, where are we going with this? We're going down a road to Odessa, Texas.
Yeah, it does seem like part 18 is the start of a new series, but I just wonder if it's ever going to happen. It just seems like the momentum, the longer it goes on, the momentum that they barely had anyway is going to dissipate.
Yeah, but then, okay, explain to me why Showtime is still promoting the hell out of this series then.
Or maybe Blu-ray sales?
I think it's more than that. And it might just be because it's the only property they own that they can do this kind of thing with.
Right. It was their little, their little showcase series, and they're trying to milk it for all it's worth because there's not going to be any more,
Right. But if they absolutely wanted to, they're not going to because they'd be crucified. But if they truly own the property, that was the thing about when David Lynch left this new series.
Yeah, I don't think they want to open that can of worms again.
Yeah, because when David Lynch left the series, everyone's like, okay, I'm not doing Twin Peaks, And it's like, well, none of those actors were under contract anyway, so they could do that, with Twin Peaks without David Lynch thing. The only person who was contracted was
Kyle.
And if Showtime wanted, I know they didn't want to, but if they wanted, they could have just made Kyle do something else.
I think that after that, no Lynch, no Peaks campaign, I don't think they would ever do that unless Lynch said, I'm retired, or I'm at least done with Twin Peaks. I give it my blessing. I want it to continue. I'm just not involved, but I give it my blessings. That's the only way they could do it.
Right. Well, without being crucified in the press, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, legally they could do it, but I'm saying it, but yeah.
Right. Mark Frost tweeted out yesterday about the Trump administration, of course. He writes, it's like, this is my new favorite thing. Like, he's quoting somebody saying, it's like this entire administration is made up of James Bond villains. So then I replied back to him, it's like this whole administration escaped from the Black Lodge and is spreading their disease throughout the world. It's time to put owl cave rings on their fingers and send their asses right into a burning chair. And you know what? He didn't like that tweet, which is, I was like, come on, Mark, that's right up your alley.
He probably doesn't want anything Trump to be in any way even connected to any Twin Peaks.
Excuse me. He's the one who put Donald Trump in the secret history of Twin Peaks and in the final dossier.
That's true. You're right. He did.
So,
True.
But I did send out a tweet to Mark Frost asking him to come on the show if he ever wanted to. And a lot of people liked it. A lot of people retweeted it, but not Mark Frost. He's done other podcasts. He's done other interviews and stuff. So he, hopefully he's still not mad at me for not liking his first book. But I've repurchased it, and I praised the hell out of the final dossier book, even if I did have little problems here and there. You know what I mean? So I should be on an even playing field. And I will say this, I'm one of the only Twin Peaks podcasts out there that was shouting from the rooftops how much I liked Mark Frost well before it was fashionable to like Mark Frost. So, cut me some slack, Jack. But a lot of people have been like tagging him on posts about the campaign. I'm always like a little wary about that, because it's like, yes, it's a fan film. Yes, it's cool. It would be great to have support, that type of thing. But I'm always like, let's not like rub it too hard. And you know what I mean? Because like that's their thing. That's their baby. You know what I mean? This is a fan film. Don't be shoving it in their faces like, hey, this is happening without you. Because it's not about trying to do a film that's negating what they've done or what or anything they've set up. It's about working with telling a story I've wanted to tell and using the story parameters they've set up to tell it, basically. Yeah, I mean, obviously tweet to your heart's content, but I wouldn't tag Mark Frost and David Lynch and Showtime to these things, because this isn't anything affiliated with them. And
right, you're not trying to be canonical.
Right, I'm not trying to be like, I'm overtaking this thing, everybody. I'm just, if everybody else does art and graphic design and poems and things like that, this is just my expression of it. As I've said, this isn't, now I will tell you that I am making this and operating this production as if it was canon.
Mm-hmm.
But that's up to the viewers to decide whether they want to accept that or not. But that's just my intention, is like,
right,
I'm not trying to do something that's going to be like, well, let me negate Fire Walk with Me over here, and let me do this over here. And
right. You're staying within the parameters of the established canon, but you're not trying to rewrite things or move in a direction that doesn't seem organic.
Right. All right, let's go to the chat. Well, my phone keeps vibrating. It's the problem, you know. At night, I get like a million texts, and they just keep coming and coming and coming. Let's see here. Melissa says maybe Richard Horn will become a denizen of the Black Lodge now that he's dead. I know a lot of people who believe that Richard Horn was not gone from the series after he burnt up. They thought that he would come back, you know, because they said that's it. And I was like, cool, he's dead. Get him out of here. It drives me nuts. In a good way. I mean, I liked his performance so much that I wanted him dead. That's the highest compliment. You know, I think, because he was just so unrelentingly foul in every way.
Yes, he was. Unrelentingly foul.
There's our new hashtag for the night. All right, guys, we haven't had a donation in a long time, so if you guys want to, you know, come on, guys, let's do this. I had some people contact me over a few days ago saying, you got to do another 24-hour stream.
48, dude, 48.
I couldn't even make it to 24 without almost passing out. Well, that was because, honestly, you know, the donations weren't coming in, and the guests, you know, were going to bed and that type of thing. So it had, after about 2 hours of that, it was just like, it's time to just wrap this up, because otherwise we're going to be completely incoherent, and nothing was coming in anyway. So
yeah, you were getting a little giddy there at the end.
Yeah, but a lot of people like that.
Oh, it was great. I made sure I tuned in right at the end just to see that.
Well, that's what Joey said. You know, I was like, this is the part people need to see, is like all of us going insane. Okay, here. Buster says Red punked out Richard Horn. And let's see.
Buster's got to get a new alias. He can't read his name out.
Exploding Nightmare says, you know about this, Hal. He says, do you think we should do a street team for this film? I know it's a form of old school promotion, but I have it run alongside with the Twitter, Facebook stuff. There's still time, guys, if that's what you want to do. I mean, I'm open to anything at this point. We got about 10 days left. So
did the One-Eyed Jacks thing already happen?
Yeah, but they're doing it again.
See, people ought to show up there with some homemade flyers. Hashtag Save Annie.
While I would agree with you, again, it goes back to my let's not rub Showtime's face into this.
No, I gotcha. Yeah, you don't want to co-opt their promotion.
No, I mean, I'm happy with them, whatever they're doing. I'm just doing my own thing over here.
Exactly.
I'm not in competition with them.
Right. You're not trying to step on toes.
No, definitely not. But we did get a donation here. Nicholas has contributed.
Yay. Thanks, Nick.
We got $5 here. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Any dollar amount helps, guys.
For sure.
Completely.
If everybody gave $5, everybody that tunes into this video, you'd be over the top in no time.
I'd already be over the top 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to $15,305. 317 backers.
Sweet.
Still at 61%. With 10.5 days left. Let's see here. Ace Ventura says old school promotions work the best. And Exploding Nightmare says kind of like what they did with the missing Cooper posters over at the site that I admin on, the Twin Peaks Worldwide, formerly Bring Back Twin Peaks. Yeah, that would have been cool but see, there was no like deadline to those. That was just a poster campaign that was run over many, many years.
Right.
This is a time sensitive thing. This is, 45. It was 15 days of prep, 45 days that became 60 days of campaigning, which I have to say is the most exhausting thing ever, Hal. Is just getting the word out there, keeping it in people's minds, but trying not to drive people nuts where they're unfollowing you. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, there's so many distractions now. Yeah, you got to kind of go on and keep hammering at it, even though some people may get, I've already donated and then talk about something else now. It's like, yeah, I get that, but
Well, thankfully that hasn't been the case. Nobody has said that. They understand.
Good.
They understand that we're trying to get there, and the only way to get there is by keep talking about it.
Yeah.
What is discouraging, and Frank brought this up the other night, is reminding people like, this link, this Indiegogo link, it goes 24 hours. So just because we do the videos now doesn't mean you have to wait until we do another video to contribute again. Like, just keep going.
Although human nature is like with Jerry Lewis, I only want to donate when Jerry's on. I don't want to donate it when they're the local guys are on.
Right, but I can't stay on camera for 10 days straight.
Why not, man? Just have the live cam's live cam 24/7 till the end of the campaign. Just have your room, it's like if you happen to walk through, it's like, hi everybody, I'm still here, donate please. It's an hour of just your room.
You know what, that might be kind of fun. I could just launch it,
right? You can peek in at any time, man. You never know what's going to happen.
Or just not even come in at all, just have it just streaming with the
right.
the link going.
Exactly.
Oh, you're gonna tempt me to do something like that.
You should.
That would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Because then people would be able to like try to read like the DVD covers I have in the back, and
exactly. And every once in a while you come in, move the camera position around, and say, hey, how's it going? Keep donating, and something will happen eventually.
I'd have to change the videos every 8 hours because YouTube stops it after 8 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you could do that. And if there's a missing, if it's an hour before you get to it,
Yeah. Let me ask you something, because you were there for the first half of the 24-hour stream.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't stay through the whole thing. I was checking in the whole time, but I was at somebody else's house and she didn't have it set up, and so I couldn't even get in the chat. But my heart was there with you guys.
Did you have fun doing it in the morning?
Very much so. Yeah.
I got to admit, for 6 hours straight, that went pretty fast. The morning.
It did, and we were getting some good donations. There was good momentum built up.
There was a lot of momentum, and then it just froze.
Yeah, it's like it hit a wall or something like that. I don't know what that was, but
I don't know. I mean, like I said, the support is there verbally and online. Yeah. There's, where
I wonder if people think, if I give $1, what does that matter? But it does matter. It does matter. Please give $1. Give $5.
Right. And we've had people that weren't talking about the campaign that started talking about it. We had the Welcome to Twin Peaks Twitter account. They mentioned it. Lynchland on Facebook, they mentioned it. So that was great. Still working on John Thorne and the Blue Rose magazine to at least like or retweet something, but that hasn't happened, unfortunately, and which is kind of surprising because John Thorne has been so wonderful and nice to us, and he's a really nice guy. He engages with me online and stuff like that, so I know that he's aware of this because he's been tagged on a number of the things. So I don't know.
And Scott Ryan's here in my hometown of Columbus, so
well, there you go. Yeah. Reach out to him.
I will.
Oh, we got another contribution.
Yay!
This comes from Joe, and he has contributed $10. So that is great. Let me refresh this here.
Hey, Joe. Thank you, man.
See what happens, how you show up and the donations start coming in. The other night, Joey and I did a show for 2 hours or so, and nothing came in the entire time. So anyway, that takes us now up to 15,315.
Beautiful.
318 backers, 61%.
If we would go at that pace for the next 12 days, you'd make it.
Exactly. Like
just trickling in, man. It all adds up. So if you can spare 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 100, $1, whatever you can do, man, as long as they keep every 5 or 10 minutes getting one like that.
Right.
Perfect.
What is discouraging is like when 17 hours goes by and then you get a donation. It's like, oh, thank God. And then, it's just like, oh man, we're never going to make it on that timeline there. And again, it's like, I just want to repeat, if the campaign hits, we make the film. If it doesn't hit, you get your money back.
That's right. Can't lose.
Exactly. All right. Let's go on to the chat here. We have about 30 minutes left. Let's see. Buster says Lynch lived with Twin Peaks or without Twin Peaks for 25 years. I think he might be done with it. Well, you never know. Let's see. Sorry, the chat got out of my hands here. Let's see. Melissa says you could use Laura Palmer missing flyers now since she's not dead. Yeah, but they have her now. Carrie's with them. Frank says, whatever you guys feel will reach more people, go for it. Guys, seriously, we have 10 days left. Anything you guys want to do to help out, with the exception of, streaking naked down the street, please go for it. Norman has contributed $5. Thank you, Norman.
Sweet. Thanks, Norman.
See, this is what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
This whole thing of just keep it going, because I gotta tell you, when I wake up in the morning and I check my email and like nothing's come in overnight, it's so sad. I'm just like, oh, okay. Onward we go, but oh my god, this is like becoming more of an uphill climb every day.
24/7 live stream, man. I'm telling you. It just work.
I may not be on the camera, but
because then you could send the link to like all the co-hosts, like me and Frank and Joey, and we could just pop in and go, "Hey, man, we're still here."
That would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be cool?
If like every morning, maybe even starting tomorrow, I could just do a morning stream. Send the link out to everybody, and if anybody has 5-10 minutes to just pop on.
Yeah, I get off work at 5:30, man. I'll pop in for a little bit and go, hey.
No, but it would be over by the time you got home. I mean,
yeah, well, I can't do it from 9 to 5:30, but
right. Well, I'm usually home in the evening, so
yeah.
It
could be wild. It could just be free form weirdness,
Yeah, I am thinking about maybe doing once, maybe Saturday morning, just the morning, a little bit in the morning. Although I remember last time we had a lot of great donations come in, but we had a lot of people say, oh, you should really do this in the afternoon and evening because that's when the donations would probably really kick in. Well, we did it in the afternoon and evening and they slowed down. It was like at its peak in the morning. We did so well that morning that we were at the top. I mean, the top of the Indiegogo film campaign.
That was exciting.
And then 2 days later, we were at the bottom because it just all dried up. So, let's see here. Exploding.
Well, it hasn't dried up because that diminishes these people that are now contributing. So.
You know what I mean. I mean, at that time, it went from going like this.
Yeah. It's weird how it's not steady. It just peaks and then stops.
But I think part of the problem is that there is, with the exception obviously of Krista Bell and a few other people tweeting about it, there's no like little film blogs, people writing about it. So it's not keeping it like just a media. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not talking about big sites, obviously Variety and all them, they're not going to cover it. But I'm just saying, like, there's so many little film blog websites that are not, talking about it. And they don't realize just how many hits they would get because there is no information out there. So if they just did like a little blurb, they would get, I mean, George, I don't know what his video is up to, but his video had hit like, almost like 200 views within the first hour of uploading it. So, I mean, word travels fast in the Twin Peaks community.
Mm-hmm.
And, so if you're, obviously if you're good to us, then we know that, we'll be there in return for you guys back. You know what I mean? It's like we scratch each other's backs here.
Yeah, and I remember what a blast it was to see that fan film that, won the Twin Peaks Festival, that Pearl Lakes film, and you've got such a magnum opus planned compared to to that one. And it was, that was so much fun to see that. I mean, let's make this come to fruition so we can all just have fun and watch Cameron's film. I mean, it may be a long time before we get anything new that's official, if ever. So,
right.
and we want to hang together as a community and have fun. And so this is a perfect thing to do.
And it's not just this film. I'm going to do like all these like behind the scenes videos and everything showing the whole making of it.
Right.
So you kind of get everything.
Exactly. It'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Exploding Nightmare Production says, I came up with the idea a few days ago, kicking myself for not thinking of doing this sooner. Plenty of colleges and stuff around where I am. You got 10 days, man. We got 10 days. Just hit it hard. If you want to help out that way, that would be amazing. That would have been great. Let's see. Exploding Nightmare says, it's just a simple piece of white paper with the Save Annie hashtag with the link to the Indiegogo campaign. Cool. That would be great. Just don't make it look like something the police need to be involved with. Save Annie. They'll be like, oh my God. I agree, Frank. Thank you so much for doing what you can. I agree. Thank you guys for everything.
Yeah, Frank was cool with his incentives. They've sold out immediately. I wish I had something like that to contribute, but I have no talents in that regard.
Right. Melissa says, yeah, a live stream would be great. Cam brushing his teeth. Cam
exactly.
eating breakfast.
Exactly.
Yeah, but this camera doesn't.
You don't have a mobile camera that you can.
Well, I could do it with my phone, but I move around throughout the day where there's no internet, so obviously it would shut down. And
I'm sure your wife would love that too. You're walking around with a camera all the time. She's like, "What is this? Go away."
Exactly. Buster says Frank could play Pete Martell in your film, and Frank says, "Thanks, Buster. I'd be honored."
Gone fishing.
Unfortunately, Pete is not in the movie. But if Pete was, then I would consider it. No Time says, would be cool to do another one of those 24-hour streams, get to the 20,000 mark and go into that last week at 20. Well, I was hoping to be at the 20,000 mark last weekend because we were going to do 5,000 in the morning, 5,000 in the afternoon, 5,000 at midnight, and then hit the 25 at 6 a.m. And that didn't happen. So it slowed down to about 13,000. And we were like, okay, good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody. I can't keep my eyes open.
Exactly. Let's see. Melissa says Blue Rose Magazine is following me on Twitter now. Well, cool. That's great. They're good people over there.
They've got a lot of good stuff planned for their next 4 issues this year. Ray Wise interview in issue 5, and I can't remember what else they've teased, but yeah. So subscribe to the Blue Rose Magazine, and hopefully they give us a shout out at some point.
Well, I don't need something in the magazine. It would just be
no.
nice
I mean, yeah, just for them to, I don't know, whatever they can do.
And I don't know, just maybe like a tweet.
Yeah, because the next issue of the magazine is not going to come out before the campaign ends. So.
And the Blue Rose Magazine did say that you have to renew your subscription.
Yes,
that it's that
they do 1-year subscriptions. So if you got the first 4 issues, now those subscriptions are over. Now get 5 through 8 for the next year.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. See, I thought it was like I didn't think the year was over with, but they're going with like just the year itself.
Yeah, exactly. If you can buy individual issues, or if you missed 1 and 2, then you can buy. They called it the Log Lady subscription, I think, which was issues 1 through 4. So you'd get 1 and 2, and then you'd get 3 and 4, and then now those subscriptions are ended. Now you go 5 through 8.
Right. Reggie says, "What do you think the Pearl Lakes film's budget was?" I have no idea. I don't want to speak for the filmmaker, but I'm going to go on a limb here and say that probably not that much. It looked like things that like a location he probably had access to, and
And then a lot of outdoors, and he probably already had the equipment.
Right. So, I mean, probably not that much. But, you know, I mean, you want to make what you want to make, and what I want to make is not something that's just readily available, like, you know, in my garage, or, you know, that type
the
of
run time's going to be a little longer than 5 minutes too, right?
I can't acknowledge that.
Okay.
It will be longer than 5 minutes. I will
Fair
say
enough.
I will say that. Lights Above says, Cameron, a lot of those film blogs covered the Power Rangers fan film. Well, there's a reason for that, and that's because they had James Vanderbeek and I believe, what's her name, Katie Sackhoff in it. So yeah, those are big time people. And also it was made by the guy who did the Punisher fan film called Dirty Laundry. So that's why they covered it. Melissa says there was a Power Rangers fan film. Yes, there was. It was an R-rated Power Rangers movie that was made.
I'm still holding out for the X-rated one.
And they did, you know, it was very well received.
Did you know that there's a Triple X Twin Peaks movie?
No.
There is. I swear I've seen it.
Do you own it?
I downloaded it, yes.
No, I don't know anything about it.
It was it's basically, it was a not to get too graphic, but it was the woman's fantasy to be Audrey Horne in One-Eyed Jacks.
Gotcha.
In a group scene. And it was the group was all Twin Peaks inhabitants of Twin Peaks. They had Dr. Jacoby and and it was like it was kind of,
and let me guess.
It was interesting.
The guy comes in and all these girls are wearing the white, you know,
no, it's just her
Prudence mask, and he says, "Close your eyes. This is the stuff that dreams are made of." Right?
That was pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Reggie says, have you contacted the Entertainment Weekly Twin Peaks podcast? Yes and no. The campaign has been tweeted out to the main writers of Entertainment Weekly that covered the show, and as well as interviewed David Lynch and stuff like that. But, you know, they're a big time magazine. They're not touching this thing. You know, now if the film is made and the film is, you know, as good as it needs to be, you'll be shocked at how many people start talking about it then. But people don't really, it doesn't seem like they want to get involved at the fundraising stage, which is when we need it the most, during, you know, getting the hype up for it.
Yeah, or else it won't exist to be reviewed one way or the other.
Exactly.
It has to be made first before we can.
Exactly. Let's see. Reggie says you should give out your Apocalypse Now 5-hour cut for a large donation. That would be illegal. And you can get it online. There are many places where you can buy it online. But that would be illegal for me to just put it on the Indiegogo campaign. So, Twin Peaks Outside the City Limit says, remember 430. Maybe that is the number of backers you need to reach the film cam. That would be great. But,
or for us weed smokers, 420.
Hey, now. Just because it's legal in California now does not mean it's legal, you know, federally.
Who's the towhead? Those drugs are legal.
Okay, there's a contributor, and I cannot read his name because it's in another language, so I apologize. But they contributed $1, so thank you very much.
Beautiful.
That was great.
We applaud you.
Oh, and I did take someone's suggestion the other night, and I posted the 2 promotional trailers on the Japanese version of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found the Japanese version of, I think it's called Nico or something like that. .com or not cool. .com. It's something like that. Anyway, so I had to translate it so that I could make sure I was clicking the right buttons. But yeah, I uploaded the trailers to there, and I think they got about 15 views. So,
well,
But you would think with Japanese culture and Twin Peaks and all that, I thought
they loved it. Yeah,
I thought it would at least hit a few hundred by now, but no. So who knows? Who knows? Let's see here. Let's see. Melissa says, interesting story. About 25 years ago, I met a guy who produced the Power Rangers at a party at my older stepsister's house. He was at the party with his wife and kid. He pulled me off into a hallway and kissed me. 20-year-old me was pretty horrified. Well, Melissa, it looks like you have one of your hashtag Me Too stories.
Yeah,
that you can tweet
very
about.
Harvey Weinstein-esque there.
Oh my goodness, that's horrible. So.
Did you see that video of Harvey Weinstein getting slapped in the face by that guy?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. He double slaps and backhanded double slap.
Frank says 80 people send $25 each, and we will have reached 430 donors. Halzak says, does anyone know how Twin Peaks, the return was received in Japan? I think it went over pretty well. They did a lot of press for it over there. Adamo says, I don't understand actors' NDAs, location site reserves, Showtime pop-up promotions versus total complete numbness and silence from Lynch and Frost for season 4. Will all of this persist for the next 4 years? Adamo, we had to deal with this for 25 years. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's just
but they never planned it, until recently. So now that they did it, what's it going to be? More or none? I mean, I wish they would just come out and say, we're done. That's all. Just say we're done if you're done.
But the moment they say they're done, it just dries up. I mean, yeah, the Twin Peaks art and stuff continues on, but the getting that audience buildup is gone. They all go home.
But what are they building us up for?
Something. Showtime wants to keep everybody at a fever pitch so that when they drop any news, everyone's gonna be like, yes, it's
So then you're convinced that there will be news. See, I'm not completely convinced.
Look, there has to be news either way.
Right. That's what I mean. So why not just say, yes, there's more to come. Wait for it.
Because the negotiations haven't finished. They haven't figured out what they're doing or when they're doing something. But something is going to happen.
Do you think that's David Lynch just being non-committal and just saying nothing, and everybody's waiting for the maestro to give the nod?
I don't think this comes down to story. I think this comes down to budget. How many times in that behind the scenes documentaries did they purposely leave in footage of David Lynch saying, I can't work this way again? Right. Now that's stuff that could easily have been cut out, but they left that in there, I believe, for negotiation purposes. But the thing is, though, if it doesn't get the nominations, if it doesn't get the awards, Showtime has the upper hand in terms of like, well, you don't need that budget. Look, you gave us this thing. Yeah, it got a lot of attention. But it didn't bring us anything.
I don't think there's any upper hand with David Lynch. I think it's either I'm going to do it or I'm not. And, if the budget's not there, okay, I'll make a table. I don't think he cares one way or the other. He has to want to do it.
And I agree with you. I agree with you. But I'm saying Showtime doesn't look at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They look at it as like, well, when we come in and David Lynch wants this much, then we're going to say no because this, and this.
Right.
And if Lynch says, okay, no, I'm not going to do it, fine. Yeah. But we may just sit on it so that because the moment we announce that it's not happening, then people are going to stop shopping at us and coming to our stuff and that type of thing.
Right. They're still putting out new products on the website, like the Audrey Dance t-shirt. And there was a Shelly at the Diner t-shirt. It's like there's new merchandise coming out, which is really strange for something that's but I agree with Amanda over at the Bookhouse Babes. She was on the podcast last weekend, and she said there are so many amazing artists, Etsy people, doing Twin Peaks stuff. Why doesn't Showtime hire these people to make
because I mean, no offense, but some of the products they have in their store look fairly remedial and not cheap, but you know what I mean, just like pedestrian.
Pedestrian is a good word. Yeah, it's like the Audrey shirt. You know, it's literally a T-shirt with a black still from the show. I mean, how unimaginative is that?
Right. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of talented artists that probably could use a little Showtime money to make something awesome for them officially.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, if I was Showtime and I was in control of that, I know the people I would be reaching out to.
And you know, this community is so cool with that creativity. So you know, it's almost like just don't do anything if it's not going to be kick ass. You know what I mean? I don't like that mediocrity. I don't like to go to the Showtime store and, oh, they got new shirts, let's check them out. Wow, that's mediocre. You know, that bums me out because this is Twin Peaks. You should be at the height of creativity in all aspects.
Right. Ace Ventura is here saying, how are the donations? Oh, that must be a clue.
Beautiful.
So we have another one from the same person who I cannot pronounce. It's not even like, it's not in English, you know, it's another language. So contribution amount, another $1.
Excellent. We'll take it.
Melissa says, I'd like some standalone Twin Peaks miniseries that explore characters like Audrey, Doug Milford, and the Log Lady. Yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities. I mean, they've really opened up the whole world of Twin Peaks.
Get ready for the Twin Peaks Halloween special.
Yeah. Now, if I can be a little cynical here for a second, if this campaign is not successful, right? Because this hashtag Save Annie, because of the amount of attention that's gotten online within the community, I wonder if Showtime then goes to Lynch and Frost and says, hey, this campaign wasn't successful, but this could be a direction we could go in because a lot of people are interested in this. That would greatly make me sad. If all of a sudden it was like Showtime was like, let's take this thing that, you know, the community wanted to do, but we'll do our thing on it, and then I'm unable to do what I want to do. You know, that would just break my heart, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, it would be disappointing, but you know, if we get more Lynch Frost Twin Peaks, even if they would use aspects of your idea, I'd be flattered.
Well, that's if they talked to me about the idea. I'm talking about where they just decide to do their own Annie Blackburn thing.
Yeah.
That's
you know, that, I mean, you know, that could happen because, you know, I mean, they seemingly saved stuff that potentially could be the continuing story. I mean, they didn't explore anything with, you know, Annie or Wyndham Earl. And so that's stuff they could be saving.
But like Showtime and like, what I'm saying, using the Etsy people to do promotion, I would think, now, of course, they would never do this, but I would think they would go like, well, this thing got a lot of traction. This got a lot of attention. Why don't we talk to the person who was in charge of this campaign and bring them in and see if Lynch and Frost and him could work something out to, you know, to move forward with this on an official level. You know, even if just I helped out with the script or whatever, you know, or the story or construction or whatever. But Showtime wouldn't do that anyway. They would just take it and run with it, probably. So that's what I'm saying. It's like I almost feel compelled that this thing gets made, because if it doesn't get made, I have a feeling like someone could take it or take the idea of it and just full steam ahead, just take it and run with it because of all the it's already got built-in attention, you know.
Yeah.
Now, and just as an artist,
I can dig that.
Who does not own the material, but still, it is something that I care very deeply about, and it's something that nobody else, you know, Lynch Frost Productions, I had it confirmed for me that they have no intention to ever tackle this kind of story. it would really greatly disappoint me if Showtime looked at the popularity of the campaign and kind of said, let's go in this direction.
Yeah, but I don't think they have that power to influence Frost and Lynch. I don't think they're going to take any suggestions from any outside collaborators. They're going to do exactly what they want to do. I don't think Showtime is going to give them direction.
No, but they could strongly say, hey, you know, what about this? You know, they could start suggesting things.
Yeah.
That's all. And I'm not saying Lynch and Frost, they've been wonderful, and I'm not saying that they would do that. I'm saying I could see Showtime going, hey, this would cut out a lot of our marketing, you know, because we already have kind of a ground swelling for the hashtag Save Annie. We'll just take it and implement it ourselves. That's what I don't want to be co-opted.
Right.
Even though I don't own it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I do.
So I really would love this campaign to thrive. And because, again, I'm not in competition with Showtime. I'm not in competition with Lynch and Frost. I just want to tell my story.
Right.
You know, I just don't want to see my story taken by Showtime, and not that they know my story, but just the concept of it, and just go do their own thing. That would just really just make me sad, because I would feel like I got stepped on. Not saying that's happening, but I'm just trying to speak honestly here. You know,
I gotcha. So. I really think that a lot of the subplots, though, you know, because of the way Mark Frost wrapped it up in the final dossier, I really think they're leaving a lot of that behind, and they're just, if they do more, it'll be a whole new direction. You know?
Right. James says, I wouldn't be worried about that. You know, I'm not. I'm just speaking. I speak openly and honestly on this podcast about like everything, the ups and downs and all around. So, you know, that's all. I just would really just be like, oh man. Reggie says, of course, that wouldn't make you depressed if they brought you in as a writer. Well, sure. I mean, but, you know, that's not what I'm thinking about at all. I'm just, I don't know. I'm just being honest, guys, you know, because we're at the point in the campaign where it's either going to succeed or it's not. I mean, it's not at 90% and it's not at 20%. It's right in the middle. We got 10 days to go. I don't know what's going to happen. And so right now I feel like I'm on the edge of a cliff and I'm dangling over it. And I just don't know if I'm going to stay on land or if I'm going to fall to my death.
I hear you. And I know it's a passion project for you, and I know your heart's in it 100%. So, in
fact, I would say that I was thinking about this today. You know, I have a lot of original projects that I would love to do as well. But me doing this is just because, you know, this year and just falling back in love with Twin Peaks and just been wanting to do this for so long that I feel like I could tell this story. I'm speaking, you know, just for myself, but I feel like I could tell this story, you know, honestly better than anybody else could at this point. I really do, because I'm so like invested in how I would tell it and how I would, you know, explore the characters. It would be so different than what we're used to, but would be a lot of layers there, you know, a lot of character explorations, much deeper than anything that season 2 even hinted at. So yeah, I am, you know, that was the thing I told myself I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to fall in love with the material just in case it didn't succeed. The problem is that getting into this project and making sure everything is set up, I did kind of fall in love with it, like too much. So now it's like, if it's not successful, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I don't want to give this up. It's too good at this point to just be like, next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I care very, very deeply about this, and whether this thing succeeds as a campaign or doesn't see it as a campaign is definitely going to affect me emotionally. I mean, it just is. You know, this isn't
been an emotional ride all along, and whether it has it doesn't come to the conclusion that you're hoping for, I think about all the love that's been showered on you too, man, with all the actors and stuff coming on. So I mean, it's not in vain. Your efforts are not in vain. But yeah, I mean, I know how bad you want to see this thing to fruition, and we all want to see it with you, man. So keep those donations coming in. Completely.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things that it's you just hope that the project is as well loved as you love it. And from what I've seen online, it seems like there's just a tremendous amount of love from the community. We just got to take that love and channel it into something that Indiegogo will recognize as a successful campaign. So, which is money. Let's see here. James says, understandable, Cam. Buster says, final dossier says Annie was born in 73. Then I think it says she was in Twin Peaks at 22. That doesn't add up. Yeah, we've already talked about that on our Annie Blackburn chapter that we covered on this podcast a few weeks ago. Joe says, you can make Queen of Hearts in Norway. You could possibly get government funding. Probably not for something that could have no money come in as revenue. I don't think they're probably not into just doing things for free. Let's see. Lights Above says, in all caps, by the way, all the fence sitters need to get the hell off the fence and donate. Let's see. Let's see here. Melissa says, it's been speculated that was either an error or deliberate because it reflects the change in the timeline as the result of Coop preventing Laura's death. Perhaps. And yeah, so people are just kind of talking about everything. But Hal, it's been 2 hours. I know you need to go. Really appreciate you stopping by. Yeah. Any last thoughts before we?
No. If you do more this weekend, I'll be around. We're gonna get snowed in here tomorrow night. So Saturday morning, if you do something, hit me up and I'll try to jump on.
I'm thinking about doing probably maybe Saturday morning.
Okay.
Just for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
It's always fun hanging out with you, Cameron.
It's a blast, man. And I'd rather do it on a weekend morning than an evening when we're all like loopy and tired from the whole day, so
right.
Got another donation from the same person that I can't pronounce because it's another language.
Really?
Yeah, another dollar amount. So that's
cool. That's a good deal, man. If a bunch of people did stuff like that, just $1 here and $1 there, I mean, it would all add up. So keep that stuff coming. Don't think, I can only give $1, I can only give $5, so I won't do $1 or $5. No, throw it in there, man. It's all going to build up. We got how many days? 10, 11?
10.
10.
Yeah, about 10 and a half. Yeah. All right. So in conclusion of this video, we have raised 61% of 25,000 still, 322 backers with our total 15,323. So
thanks to everybody that gave during this 2 hours. So it's really cool when you do it live with us. It just, it's that connection that we love here in the Twin Peaks community. So thank you again.
Right. Bay by the Bay says, you guys are nuts. Why not make something original? Well, I've explained that many times on this podcast, but basically I do original stuff. But this was something that I brought up on a podcast that I've always wanted to make a Twin Peaks fan film. A bunch of people said, hey, I would love to see it. And I said, okay, great. Let me do a crowdfunding campaign. Everyone said, yay. And so here we are. That's all it is, man. That's all it is.
Labor of love.
Very much so. Twin Peaks Outside Say Limit says the breakfast show on Saturday. That would be great. Let's see here. James says, great stuff. Keep rocking it. Jason says, keep on keeping on. Lights Above says $1 here and there keeps it moving. Frank says, don't wait, donate. Leslie says, I like that, Frank. I'm gonna tweet that in a few. Yes, definitely. Yeah, keep keep the tweets going. Hashtag Save Annie. You know, and anything you can do, you know, if you do the ground swelling thing, you know, like make flyers, talk to people, coffee shops, colleges, whatever. We got 10.5 days. Anything can happen. I mean, we're less than 10,000 away from hitting the total, which was, you know, I mean, a lot of people didn't even think we were going to get this far, Hal. You know, I had someone say to me, I thought you were going to get no further than 3,000. So we've already surpassed that. I mean, we're nearing 60, you know, 62%, which is,
yeah, it'd be super disappointing as opposed to super fun at this point if you didn't make it, because you're over that halfway mark and it's just like, come on. It'd be a drag to have to give all that money back at this point, because it's, you know, we want to see this movie. I do.
I think everybody does.
Yeah.
I've built it up enough.
Yeah.
Nora says, go on. Sweet, Cameron, go. Reggie says, hope it gets funded. Thank you, guys. Twin Peaks outside the city limit says, let's rock. I couldn't agree more. All right, Hal. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure always.
We'll probably come back Saturday morning and do a show with a bunch of people. I think that would be a lot of fun. Hashtag super fun. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. Make sure to give these videos likes, share them. Check out George's video on his channel, All Things Lynchian, in support of this. You know, check out the promotional trailers for Queen of Hearts on this channel. Check out the Indiegogo campaign. You know, share it everywhere you can. We got 10.5 days. You know, I extended it by 2 weeks. You know, let's make this work. You know, we're nearer to the finish line than we are to the starting. You know, so
yeah, and go do it now while you're thinking about it before you go to bed.
Exactly.
Don't wait. Oh, I'm going to wait till the last day and all that stuff. Put it in there now, and then when it comes to the last day, you can throw another 5 in to kick it over the top.
Exactly. I just thank you, Hal, for saying all the things. But anyway, guys, thank you again for all your love and support. Really appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully you guys are having a wonderful night. You know, keep the tweets, keep the messages going, and hashtag Save Annie, and hopefully we will get there sooner than later. So in the meantime, take it easy, and we will see you soon. Take care.